Would everyone please take your seats? In accordance with the Constitution and laws of the state of Texas, I, Jane Nelson, Secretary of State of the state of Texas, call the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature to order. As we begin today, please let me remind you that under the terms of conduct for the House Chamber, the presiding officer is charged with preserving order and decorum, including in the gallery, the lobby, and adjacent spaces. I ask those persons on the floor and in the gallery to comply with the principles of decorum as outlined in your program. The House and the gallery would please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the national anthem and pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags. The invocation will be delivered by the Most Reverend David L. Toops, Bishop of the Diocese of Beaumont.
God, our loving Father, creator of all goodness, we invoke your Holy Spirit of wisdom and guidance upon this legislative session and upon all those called to serve the common good. We ask you to bless the great state of Texas and all those entrusted to our care. We pray for peace in our hearts and peace in our world in these challenging times. And so we close with the words often attributed to St. Francis of Assisi, a great patron of peace. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. May your wisdom prevail upon us and allow us to be your instruments of peace in our community. You who live and reign forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. Today, we are pleased to have Taline Nabon Decon from the Butler School of Music at the University of Texas at Austin perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
Beautiful. Please remain standing. The chair recognizes the Honorable Hugh Shine of Bell County to lead the pledge to the United States flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare to pledge, remember the red is for the blood that our soldiers, the blue for the wounded, and the white represents the crosses on our soldiers' graves. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the Honorable Matt Shaheen of Collin County to lead the pledge to the Texas flag.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Members-elect, and our friends in the gallery, please join me as we honor the great state of Texas. Honor the Texas flag.
Please be seated. Whew. Well, good afternoon. And welcome to the 88th Texas Legislature. Yeah. For those of you who don't know me, I served in the chamber over on the east side of the Capitol for 30 years. Now, being here with you today in the House chamber brings back so many memories. Of course, I witnessed some of my bills die very colorful deaths in this chamber, as I'm sure some of you have. But it's also a place where I forged some of the best friendships and partnerships of my career. As finance chair, I had the privilege of working on the state budget with 4 amazing appropriation chairs, Chairman Pitts, Chairman Otto, Chairman Zerwas, and Chairman Bonin. Yeah. I've teamed up with many of you who are truly amazing subject matter experts on your key issues to pass good legislation over the years. I want to share just one memory that really stands out. When we were working to establish the Cancer Prevention and Research Institute of Texas, there was a key vote here in the House to save that bill, which I think had 9 lives, those of you who were around back then. And I heard it was in trouble. And I ran over from the Senate and went straight to Mrs. T and Chairman Morrison for help. Jeannie, you remember this? And we gathered all of the women of the House together. And we went from all the way in the back to the front of the room, desk by desk. Mrs. T, you remember this? And we counted votes. And by the time we got up to the front, Speaker Craddock, we said, we've got the votes, and we passed that bill. You remember? It was so awesome. And so to be here in the House with you today, that was a special bill. That was a special time. And so it's special for me to be standing up here with you. I want to extend a warm congratulations to each member of the House and to your families as you begin a new chapter in your service to the Texans you represent. 30 years ago, I sat exactly where you are on my first opening day of the legislative session with my husband and my 5 children, feeling the excitement in the chamber and hearing the buzz around the Capitol building and anxiously awaiting what the session had in store for us. You are surrounded by some new faces this year, including 26 new members of the Texas House and 5 new members. Yes, welcome, welcome. And we have 5 new members of the Senate, but we also have some seasoned veterans among us who have worked year after year, and in some cases, decade after decade, to improve the lives for all Texans who call this state home. Many of you are fresh off the campaign trail, where you had an opportunity to listen firsthand to concerns and hopes of the constituents that you now represent. Each of you brings a unique point of view background, and expertise to this body. We have a legislature comprised of teachers and doctors and police officers and moms and dads and, yes, even lawyers. You come from big cities and small towns and seasides and deserts, but no matter where you come from, we are all Texans. Yes, yes. And we have all come together for the next 140 days to work on behalf of our state. Now, there are going to be difficult moments. That happens every session. But remember this, as Texans, we all agree on so much more than any differences we might have. I have great faith in all of you, and I will be rooting for you all to have a successful session. So congratulations and good luck, and let's get started. The chair announces the appointment of the following temporary officers and employees of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature. The clerk will read the officers.
Temporary officers of the 88th Legislature, Parliamentarian Sharon Carter and Hugh L. Brady, Assistant Parliamentarian Thomas G. Samuels, Chief Clerk Stephen Brown, Assistant Chief Clerk Mark Cervantes, Journal Clerk Jennifer Tygan Duran, Voting Clerk Scotty Hagan, Sergeant at Arms Michael Black, Assistant Sergeant at Arms Kara Coffey, Doorkeeper Anthony Hester, Reading Clerks Kate Atwood and Haley Hildebrand, Committee Coordinator Stacy Nicchio, Assistant Committee Coordinator Damian Duarte, Executive Director of House Business Office Stephen D. Adrian, Assistant Director of House Business Office Scott D. Seibert, Chaplains the Most Reverend David L. Toops, the Reverend Jacob N. Herleman, and the Reverend Fernando Rico, and honorary pages and the names of whom will be entered in the journal.
Chief Clerk will call the roll of members-elect of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature according to representative districts.
Please answer present as I call your name. District 1, Gary Van Dever. District 2, Brian Slayton. District 3, Cecil Bell. District 4, Keith Bell. District 5, Cole Hefner. District 6, Matt Schaefer. District 7, Jay Dean. District 8, Cody Harris. District 9, Trent Ashby. District 10, Brian Harrison. District 11, Travis Clardy. District 11, Kyle Casal. District 13, Angela Orr. District 14, John Rainey. District 15, Steve Toth. District 16, Will Metcalf. District 17, Stan Gerdes. District 18, Ernest Bales. District 19, Ellen Troxclair. District 20, Terry M. Wilson. District 21, Dade Phelan. District 22, Christian Manuel Hayes. District 23, Terry Leo Wilson. District 24, Greg Bonin. District 25, Cody Thane Vasut. District 26, JT Jatom. District 27, Ron Reynolds. District 28, Gary Gates. District 29, Ed Thompson. District 30, Jeannie W. Morrison. District 31, Ryan Guillen. District 32, Todd Hunter. District 33, Justin Holland. District 34, Abel Herrero. District 35, Oscar Longoya. District 36, Sergio Munoz Jr. District 37, Janie Lopez. District 38, Erin Elizabeth Gomez. District 39, Armando Mondo Martinez. District 40, Terry Canales. District 41, Bobby Guerra. District 42, Richard Pena Raymond. District 43, J.M. Lozano. District 44, John Kemple. District 45, Aaron Zwiener. District 46, Cheryl Cole. District 47, Vicki Goodwin. District 48, Donna Howard. District 49, Gina Hinojosa. District 50, James Tallarico. District 51, Maria Luisa Lulu Flores. District 52, Caroline Harris. District 53, Andrew S. Murr. District 54, Brad Buckley. District 55, Hugh D. Shine. District 56, Charles Doc Anderson. District 57, Richard Hayes. District 58, Dwayne Burns. District 59, Shelby Slauson. District 60, Glenn Rogers. District 61, Frederick Frazier. District 62, Reggie Smith. District 63, Ben Bumgarner. District 64, Lynn Stuckey. District 65, Kronda Timish. District 66, Matt Shaheen. District 67, Jeff Leach. District 68, David Spiller. District 69, James B. Frank. District 70, Mahala Elizabeth Plisa. District 71, Stan Lambert. District 72, Drew Darby. District 73, Carrie Isaac. District 74, Eddie Morales. District 75, Mary E. Gonzalez. District 76, Suleiman Lalani. District 77, Evelina Lina Ortega. District 78, Joe Moody. District 79, Claudia Ordaz Perez. District 80, Tracy O. King. District 81, Brooks Landgraf. District 82, Tom Craddock. District 83, Dustin Burrows. District 84, Carl Tepper. District 85, Stan Kitzman. District 86, John T. Smithy. District 87, Four Price. District 88, Ken King. District 89, Candy Noble. District 90, Ramon Romero Jr. District 91, Stephanie Click. District 92, Salman Bojani. District 93, Nate Schatzline. District 94, Tony Tenderholt. District 95, Nicole Collier. District 96, David Cook. District 97, Craig Goldman. District 98, Giovanni Capriglione. District 99, Charlie Guerin. District 100, Vinton C. Jones. District 101, Chris Turner. District 102, Ana Maria Ramos. District 103, Rafael M. Anchia. District 104, Jessica Gonzalez. District 105, Terry Mesa. District 106, Jared Patterson. District 107, Victoria Niave Criado. District 108, Morgan Meyer. District 109, Carl O. Sherman. District 110, Tony Rose. District 111, Yvonne Davis. District 112, Angie Chin Button. District 113, Retta Andrews Bowers. District 114, John Bryant. District 115, Julie Johnson. District 116, Trey Martinez Fisher. District 117, Philip Cortez. District 118, John Lujan. District 119, Elizabeth Liz Campos. District 120, Barbara Gervin Hawkins. District 121, Steve Allison. District 122, Mark DeRazio. District 123, Diego Bernal. District 124, Josie Garcia. District 125, Ray Lopez. District 126, E. Sam Harless. District 127, Charles Cunningham. District 128, Briscoe Kane. District 129, Dennis Paul. District 130, Tom Oliverson. District 131, Alma A. Allen. District 132, Mike Schofield. District 133, Mano de Ayala. District 134, Ann Johnson. District 135, John Rosenthal. District 136, John H. Boosie III. District 137, Jean Wu. District 138, Lacey Hull. District 139, Jarvis D. Johnson. District 140, Armando Lucio Wale. District 141, Symphonia Thompson. District 142, Harold V. Dutton Jr. District 143, Ana Hernandez. District 144, Mary Ann Perez. District 145, Christina Morales. District 146, Sean Nicole Theory. District 147, Yolanda Jones. District 148, Penny Morales Shaw. District 149, Hubert Vo. District 150, Valerie Swanson.
A quorum is present. Yes. The chief clerk will now administer the constitutional oath of office to the members-elect of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature. All members-elect will please rise.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me, stating your name when I state mine. I, Stephen Brown, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of member of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God.
Congratulations, members. Members, the House will now, it's fun celebrating. Members, the House will now consider a series of motions relating to organization of the House, Copies of these motions have been placed on your desk. The following motion in writing, the clerk will read the motion.
Motion in writing by the Honorable Todd Hunter of Nueces County. Madam Secretary, I move to adopt the House Rules of Procedure from the 87th Legislature, accepting Rule 16 as temporary rules.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Todd Hunter of Nueces County to explain the motion.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Members, this is the first motion we typically adopt on opening day. And what we're doing is we use the prior session's rules as temporary rules. The only difference is that we are excluding Rule 16, which was known as the pandemic rule. Madam Secretary, I move adoption.
The question occurs on the adoption of the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, and the motion is adopted. Following motion in writing, clerk will read the motion.
Motion in writing by the Honorable Will Metcalf of Montgomery County. Madam Secretary, I move that pending the election of the Speaker, all individuals other than members of the House of Representatives, members of their families, the Secretary of State, temporary officers and their staffs, and approved guests be barred from the floor of the House of Representatives inside the railing.
Chair recognizes the Honorable Will Metcalf of Montgomery County to explain the motion.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Members, this same motion we adopt every opening day of every session to allow our family and guests on the floor. Madam Secretary, I move adoption.
Question occurs on the adoption of the motion. Is there any objection? Chair hears none, and the motion is adopted. Following motion in writing, clerk will read the motion.
Motion in writing by the Honorable Todd Hunter of Nueces County and the Honorable Armando Wale of Harris County. Madam Secretary, I move that in accordance with Sections 9B and 11, Article 3, Texas Constitution, and the laws of the state of Texas, the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature proceed to elect a Speaker of the House of Representatives from its own membership as follows. Section 1, nominations. A, the Secretary of State shall call for nominations from the floor for the election of Speaker of the House of Representatives and shall recognize each member who desires to make a nomination. The order in which members shall proceed to make a nomination shall be determined by lot. B, each member recognized for this purpose shall immediately advance to the microphone at the reading clerk's desk and make the nomination and a nominating speech, not to exceed 5 minutes in length. C, after all nominations have been made, the Secretary of State shall declare nominations to be closed. D, the Secretary of State shall recognize at any time a member whose name has been placed in nomination for the purpose of withdrawing as a nominee. A member who withdraws is not considered a nominee. Section 2, seconds. A person is not considered a nominee unless the nomination is seconded by at least one member. B, 1 seconding speech shall be allowed for each nomination in the order in which nominations were made. Then other seconding speeches shall be allowed in rotation in the same order. C, not more than 5 seconding speeches shall be allowed for each nominee. D, a seconding speech may not exceed 3 minutes in length. Section 3, voting procedures, voting machine. A, all votes shall be record votes taken using the voting machine with the vote of each member entered in the House Journal. B, if there are 2 or 3 nominees for Speaker, the members shall record their votes from their desk on the voting machine with a different colored light on the machine indicating a vote for each nominee. If the nominees cannot agree on the color that will indicate a vote for each nominee, the presiding officer shall draw lots to determine the color for each nominee. C, before the close of voting on the voting machine, the presiding officer shall provide several warnings to the members that the voting period is about to close. D, a member who does not cast a vote for a nominee but who is recorded present at the initial roll call shall be recorded as present not voting in the record. Section 4, results runoff. A, the Secretary of State shall announce the results of the election. If a nominee receives a majority of the votes cast, the Secretary of State shall declare that the nominee be elected to the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. B, if no nominee receives a majority of the votes cast, the two nominees receiving the largest number of votes in the initial vote shall be in a runoff conducted by voting machine as provided by Section 3 of this motion. The Secretary of State shall announce the results of the runoff and declare the nominee receiving the majority of the votes cast to be elected. Section 5, oath. A, after the election, the Secretary of State shall, 1, appoint a committee of members to escort the Speaker-elect to the Speaker's rostrum for the purpose of taking the constitutional oath of office by the Speaker-elect, and 2, direct the administration of the oath of office to the Speaker-elect. B, the Speaker shall take the chair immediately after taking the oath of office.
Chair recognizes the Honorable Todd Hunter of Nueces County and the Honorable Armando Wale of Harris County to explain the motion.
Thank you, Madam Secretary and members, and especially for the new members. This motion is very, very similar to the procedures we've used in the past sessions for the nomination and election of the Speaker. And just to highlight, the motion provides for a nominating speech not to exceed 5 minutes, requires a nomination to be seconded by at least one member, allows up to 5 seconding speeches not to exceed 3 minutes, and requires votes to be taken using the voting machine. And if more than one candidate is nominated, the Secretary of State will draw lots to determine the order of speeches and the color of light on the voting machine for each candidate. Representative Wale and I move adoption.
The question occurs on the adoption of the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none, and the motion is adopted. The next order of business is the election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Nominations are now in order. Will any member who desires to make a nomination please come forward at this time? Gavel 1. Thank you. Chair recognizes the Honorable Cody Harris of Anderson County to nominate the Honorable Dade Phelan of Jefferson County.
Madam Secretary, distinguished guests, members, and families, welcome to the Texas House. Members, it is my honor and privilege to stand before you in this historic chamber and place in nomination the name of the Honorable Dade Phelan, my colleague and dear friend, for Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives. Texans have bestowed on us as members of this distinguished body the tremendous responsibility of being their voice in state government for the next 140 days. And what a huge responsibility that is. One of the first and most important tasks we have before us is selecting a speaker to lead us, one who will do so with integrity, honesty, and a steady hand. These are all qualities we've seen demonstrated by Speaker Phelan, not only in the good times, but also in those that have been especially challenging. Much has changed since we last gathered here 2 years ago. Our state's population has grown to over 30 million people, with more moving here every day. But this blessing brings with it serious challenges, like updating and expanding our roadways, providing water security, and ensuring a fair and predictable regulatory climate that continues to attract new industry and jobs for our constituents. We're also faced with a bleeding and broken border where we must find the balance between compassion and respecting the rule of law, because Washington refuses to do so. Over the last week, we witnessed the culmination of decades of dysfunction in our nation's capital. Partisanship and petty political theater have come to personify our nation's political landscape, and we know that there are powers on both sides of the political spectrum who want the same dysfunction for Texas. The revered Sam Houston, whose portrait hangs over my left shoulder, once said, "Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations." It is my firm belief that Texas, and particularly the Texas House, stands as an example to the world of how a representative government is supposed to work. The best way for us to prevent our chamber from going down the dark and broken path of Washington, D.C., is to elect a leader who recognizes that this House and its future are far better served when we elevate members based on their knowledge, experience, and skills, rather than basing every single decision on the party abbreviations following someone's name. That leader is Dade Phelan. Dade Phelan has shown that passing legislation that reflects the will of the majority and operating the chamber in a fair manner are not mutually exclusive. You can and should do both. Leadership is participative, not directive. It is a partnership, not a dictatorship. We need a leader who will encourage the members of this body to vote their districts, offer everyone an equal seat at the table, even as calls to silence those who disagree with us grow louder. One who respects the rules, history, and process that make this distinguished body work. Dade Phelan has effectively led this House through some of the most challenging times in our state's modern history. In his first term as Speaker, Dade successfully guided the House through the many complex legislative challenges brought by COVID-19. Then in February of 2021, the trajectory of the session was completely disrupted when the state of Texas experienced one of the worst winter weather events in its history. He led us through multiple special sessions, and despite all of that, under Speaker Phelan's leadership, we were able to emerge with a balanced budget, vital fixes to our state's power grid, stronger elections, better health care for mothers and babies, and the list goes on and on. That brings us to today. We start this session with $32.7 billion in revenue surplus. a diverse new class of members, a fresh set of ideas and challenges facing our constituents, and an opportunity to elect a leader who will ensure that we are given the tools to perpetuate the Texas miracle. Members date as many things: a successful businessman, a loving husband and father, a dedicated state representative, and friend to us all. He's proven his leadership in good times and bad. He places a premium on fairness and respect for the process, and I'm certain that he is the right man for the job. Madam Secretary and members, it is my great honor and privilege to nominate the Honorable Dade Phelan to continue serving this great and distinguished institution as Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives. Thank you.
Straight to the The chair recognizes the Honorable Brian Slayton of Hunt County to nominate the Honorable Tony Tinderholt of Tarrant County.
Madam Secretary, members, your beloved friends and family that are here with you today, I'd like to welcome you to this chamber and in your Texas Capitol. I am honored to be up here nominating my friend, Tony Tinderholt, to be our next Speaker of the House. Last week, America witnessed the four most transparent days in the halls of Congress in modern history, where we saw actual debate and discussion. That only happened because conservatives were unwilling to rubber stamp an establishment leader with a history of working with Democrats to stop conservative policy. Another thing you might have noticed was that the Democrats in Congress stood together consistently in opposition to Speaker McCarthy. Not one Democrat broke rank to vote for a Republican. In Texas, we do things a little differently. Our Speaker courted the Democrats to get his position, gave them chairmanships, protected them from being punished when they fled to D.C. And while they were in D.C., they spent weeks disparaging the reputation of the Republican members. And today, every single one of our Democrat colleagues will be voting for his leadership in this chamber. Some will claim this is good bipartisanship, but it's actually just a powerful consolation prize for losing elections. We have passed some good Republican bills over the last several years. When we pass conservative legislation, I'm told things like, we need to take a little break. This House isn't going to stay together. To my Democrat colleagues, I'd like to commend you. You're brilliant. You've created an environment where Republicans believe we can only get a few wins each session. We spend most of our time reflecting on the joy of our few wins instead of the cost of our failures. Did we end most abortions in Texas? Yes. Did we finally pass partial constitutional carry? Yes. But there are other things we must consider. Can children be forced by their parents to go through barbaric gender reassignment surgeries and procedures? Yes. Can children be forced did many of the constituents, your constituents, property tax bills go up? Absolutely they did. Are young children being sexualized in public schools or at drag shows? Yes, they are. Are millions of illegals flooding across our state's open border? Yes, they are. At some point, we need to realize we are settling for just enough wins to get reelected. We cannot afford to operate that way anymore. It is time for Republicans to take the lead, to actually implement the conservative policies that the people are demanding. We have a lot to do, and the 8 GOP legislative priorities are only the bare minimum that we have to accomplish this session. The answer is clear, and I'm grateful that Representative Tinderholt has given us a chance to change the way this chamber operates. Each one of you worked hard to get here with the support of the people of your district. And for the new members, the moment you start letting other representatives here make you vote the way that they want, you've handed away the power that the people in your district gave you. and to you alone. Thank you, and God bless.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. The chair recognizes the Honorable Angie Chen Button of Dallas County to make the first seconding speech for Representative Phelan.
Thank you, Madam Secretary, and congratulations. My dear colleagues, most of us arrive here today knowing how to juggle. We try to balance our personal lives and careers with the added responsibility of serving the diverse needs of our constituents. While some of the big headline-grabbing issues dominate conversations, there are hundreds of less flashy issues impacting our constituents' daily lives. Juggling a lot of balls gets challenging when people keep tossing you more balls. Well, sometimes it could feel like that this is a game of dodgeball. Well, a few sessions ago, Dade Phelan chaired the State Affairs Committee. While on the House floor, I saw him walking this way. Well, he came to talk to me about this bill of his bill. And he heard that a city in my district did not like it. And guess what? He said, Angie, I completely understand if you are not able to support my bill. Wow, a powerful chairman said that to me. Well, no pushy sales pitch, just assuring me to use my best judgment to serve my district with all my heart. Since then, Chairman Phelan has become Speaker Phelan, and he has presided over this body with that same respect for the office we all hold. A leader is someone who does the right thing, not because somebody's watching him or paying attention, but because this is the right thing to do. Leaders bring people together and look for solutions. They provide guidance and inspiration to those around them. Leaders empower others. Great leaders are respected because they respect others. How about that? Dade Phelan is that leader. I am so proud to second the nomination of Dade Phelan as our House Speaker. And God bless Texas. God bless this House.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Nate Schatzline of Tarrant County to make the first seconding speech for Representative Tony Tinderholt.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I'm going to keep this very brief. I am proud to nominate and second the nomination of Representative Tinderholt for Speaker. I'd like to point out that I'm also proud of Speaker Phelan for the stances that he's taken that line up with my values as well. Whether that be the pro-life stance that he's taken or it's the pro-Second Amendment stance he's taken. But I want to be very clear. This vote for me is in support of my friend, someone who has supported me since the very beginning of my race, Representative Tony Tinderholt, a conservative fighter that's taken conservative stances time and time again, and I trust his leadership. I look at Representative Tinderholt, I look at someone who votes his conscience, I look at someone who votes biblical Christian values, I look at someone who takes the hard stances when others aren't willing to, and I look at someone who I can trust to do the right thing at all times. I appreciate Speaker Phelan, and I appreciate all he's done for this state. But when I nominate Representative Tony Tinderholt, I do so as a friend who I know is going to stand in the gap and take the stances that our GOP has asked us to do, that our counties have asked us to do, that our districts have asked us to do. And my district specifically has asked me to take a stand on the GOP priorities. And I know Representative Tinderholt will do just that. I believe that chairmanship should go with the majority party. I believe that we must take strong stances so that we can get strong conservative legislation done. And I trust that Representative Tinderholt will do just that. So I'm proud to second the nomination of Representative Tinderholt. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Tracy King of Uvalde County to make this next seconding speech for Representative Phelan.
Good afternoon, Madam Secretary, members of the House, family, and guests. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to be with you here today. And I got to tell you that I've heard a lot of seconding speeches in my career, and I always wonder, where do they find these people? And then today I'm standing in front of you, and I'm still wondering, where do they find these people? I've served with 5 speakers, and Dade Phelan gets it. He understands what the job description is. He's been a gubernatorial appointee, a staffer, a member, and a speaker. But ladies and gentlemen, he didn't do that by himself. His wife, Kim Phelan, is a devoted mother of 4 boys, a great wife, and an absolutely incredible attorney, if y'all didn't know that. Thank you so much, Kim. I got to know Speaker Phelan when he served as the vice chairman of the House Natural Resources Committee, and I could tell then that he had a good work ethic and he was truly dedicated to the people in the great state of Texas. But what most impressed me about Dade Phelan was a trip that he made to Uvalde, Texas last week to meet with the families of the 19 children and the 2 teachers that were killed in the Robb school shooting on May the 24th. He represents a district in East Texas that borders the Louisiana border. Uvalde is part of a district 2/3 of the way across the state that borders the country of Mexico. Very, very different places. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to make that trip. It won't affect his reelection in East Texas or his reelection for Texas Speaker of the House. I was going to vote for him anyway. But he made the trip across the state because he cared, and he wanted those families to know that he cared about what they were going through. It was not an easy meeting. I was there the whole time. They agreed on some things, and they disagreed on some other things. But throughout the entire meeting, he was honest with them. He was upfront, answered those questions boldly, and it was impressive. And ladies and gentlemen, those are qualities that I find very, very admirable, particularly under those difficult situations. Now, we all come from different backgrounds, and there's 150 of us that serve in this House together. And Speaker Phelan believes in giving every member the opportunity to represent the folks that sent them here to do that. So, Madam Secretary, for these and many other reasons, it is an honor and a privilege to second the nomination of Dade Phelan to be Speaker of the House. Thank you, and God bless you.
The The chair recognizes the Honorable John Lujan of Bexar County to make the next seconding speech for Representative Phelan.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I guess I'm one of those people too. First of all, I want to thank all the members and families for being here, and welcome to our Texas Capitol, right? I'm just proud to be here for that. I just want to let you know that I would not be here today serving my community were it not for the vision and encouragement of Speaker Phelan. He's a man of strong faith, values, and convictions. He's never afraid of hard work, and above all, he puts Texas first in everything he does. As the Texas House, as members of the Texas House, we're on a big journey together. We will never be in this exact same body of 150 members facing the same exact set of circumstances, debating the same exact issues ever again. We're in a unique time and a unique moment in Texas history. Speaker Phelan, like the rest of us, shares the common goal of wanting to make our state better. And we can only get better when we're debating and discussing some of the most pressing issues that are before us, by giving every member who wants to have a say in the process the opportunity and the encouragement to do so. I'll never forget the first time I met Speaker Phelan. He called me when I was struggling to make a critical decision about serving in the legislature. My phone rang and it was the speaker. And I said, "Hey, what's up, Speaker?" I was playing around because I didn't know who the speaker was. And I'm a retired San Antonio firefighter, and that's what we do. We play around with each other a lot, so I thought someone was joking with me. But after a few minutes, when I realized it was actually him, I was so encouraged that a person like this was helping to lead our state. When I got off the phone, I knew I wanted to be a part of the great vision of service, that vision of service that Speaker Phelan had articulated toward me. It's for these reasons and many more that I support Speaker Phelan as our Speaker for the 88th Texas Legislature, and I hope that you will join me in doing so. Thank you, and God bless the great state of Texas.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Tony Rose of Dallas County to make the next seconding speech for Representative Phelan.
Madam Secretary, fellow colleagues, and guests, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be with you here today. I am so honored today to second the nomination of the Honorable Dade Phelan for Speaker of the Texas House of Representatives. Like me, Dade believes that as members, we can agree to disagree, and there is a path for each of us to vote our principles, do what's best for our districts, and still find time to listen respectfully to one another. One of the greatest examples of our ability to cross partisan lines for the greater good was seen last session when this chamber overwhelmingly voted to support my legislation, House Bill 133, to extend postpartum Medicaid coverage for new mothers from 60 days to 12 months after having a baby. To our new members, you'll learn this the hard way real soon. But there's this pesky chamber on the other side that we're forced to do business with. And unfortunately, despite a large bipartisan coalition of House members voting in favor of that bill, the Senate version lowered the threshold of coverage to 6 months rather than 12, thus casting into jeopardy the extension of postpartum health coverage for Texas altogether. as the federal government had only eased application requirements for states that expanded to a full year of coverage. Like policymaking, our healthcare system is arduous and complicated, so I'll bear you the nuts and bolts. But the short version is, because we ended up passing the Senate version, this bill has not been implemented the way the House intended it to be. Our waiver to obtain federal funds now hangs in balance. And when the public health emergency ends here soon, Texas moms will once again be removed from health coverage when their baby is just a mere 2 months old. We recognize that the fight for 12 months is not yet over, and that is due in no small part to the leadership of Dave Phelan, who has made 12-month extension and the need to better support Texas new moms and children a priority of the 88th legislative session. Last session, he was right by my side every step of the way, advocating for my bill and helping it to get it over the finish line by making it the central focus of his Healthy Families, Healthy Texas legislative package. And in the year and a half since then, Dade has not been quiet. He went on to lead our chamber into urging the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services to approve our application and to get it done without delay. In every speech, every interview, and conversation I've had with him, he has reaffirmed me his support for this legislation and assured me that we will get it done once again. He was supporting our effort long before Dobbs, so when he says it will get done once again and made it a top priority this time around, I believe him. Members, I share this story with you today because it's an example of the type of leader we need for this chamber. One who takes up our fights as his own. One who believes that good policy is just that, good policy. And one who is willing to continue to work until the work is done the right way and not the easy way. Dade has fought his entire legislative career with the intention of making this building work for everyone, as a staffer, then a representative, and eventually speaker. He recognizes that even though the needs of our districts and constituents may be different, they are still worthy of being heard. So no matter who you are, where you come from, or the reasons you have for being here, Dade believes that members of this House deserve a fair chance to succeed. That is the type of leadership this chamber needs, and that is why I am proud to support my friend, and I'm proud to second the nomination of Dave Phelan for Speaker of the Texas House. Thank you.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Tony Tinderholt of Tarrant County to make the next seconding speech.
Thank you, ma'am. Members and fellow Texans watching at home and in the gallery. Last session, I voted for our current speaker in hopes that he would change the broken systems that had led to conservative bills dying each session. I even hoped that during the interim, things might get better. Instead, the tone and message to Texans got worse, not better. I watched as our speaker refused to address Republican delegates at the largest Republican gathering in the nation, the Texas GOP convention. Many of you who told me you spent months trying to get a meeting with him to discuss various policies, only to be ignored. Many of you that I talked to. The Speaker of the Texas House is supposed to be a servant leader, one available to every single member of the body, not only accessible to a select few who exhibit the obedient behavior that leadership wants and needs. Every one of you knows that I consider you a friend. I don't like when we disagree, and I try to be respectful. I treat everyone the same. Ask yourself, what do Texans need and deserve? I've realized they need me to fight to change this broken system, to give essential policies a chance to pass. What we have been doing has not been working. The change needed is uncomfortable, but the cost of doing what is right pales in comparison to the cost of this House repeating lost opportunities session after session. Our own Congressman Chip Roy recently said, before he accomplished the changes to the rules at the U.S. Capitol. The status quo remains because people want their power. They want their committee chairmanships. They want their gavel. They want the ability to control the power and the purse strings. But they don't want to look into the mirror to fundamentally change a broken town, a broken house, a broken body, and broken federal government. I look forward to working with each of you this session to advance a conservative agenda. I'm committed to this regardless of how today's vote goes. Many of you have told me you're worried about what will happen if you vote for me. That kind of environment should not exist in this chamber. In closing, I'm committed to ensuring that every single Republican legislative priority is debated on the House floor. Each of you should vote your district, but while passing the 1,000 bills that all of you have made a priority, and I agree, your bills are a priority. We can take a couple of days to debate the 8 bills that the Republican Party of Texas has asked us to pass. I know there are chairmen in this chamber that I'm convinced are conservative. There are members who will vote for Dade today who I believe want to pass conservative bills this session. And if last session or during our special session or during the interim, our current speaker had shown that he was ready to lead on bold conservative agenda, including the Republican priorities, I would not be running today. I ask that you cherish this session as we fight to make Texas an even better place. I appreciate every single one of you, and I actually appreciate Dade Phelan and his family for his service. God bless you all, and God bless Texas.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Shelby Slauson of Erath County to make the final seconding speech for Representative Phelan.
Thank you, Madam Secretary and guests. Members, as we assemble here today, yoked with the great responsibility to lead Texas, I rise to second the nomination of Dade Phelan as our next speaker. 2 years ago, we elected Dade to lead this chamber, to be the arbiter of our self-imposed rules and an even fair hand on the gavel. And that he has been. Before that vote, I was just a know-nothing freshman. So not knowing what to expect here, I asked Dade about various priorities and how the House and the speakership works. And he explained, as you've probably heard, the speaker's role in calling balls and strikes as the members create the plays and fight for our bills in here. Dade Phelan, gavel in hand, was a man true to his word. It is a messy job, the business of liberty. Thomas Jefferson once said, "Timid men prefer the calm of despotism to the tempestuous sea of liberty." Well, this Texas House is no respite for timid souls. On other chambers, maybe, DC, maybe. But on any given day in here, we tilt full tempest. Our colleague Dade Phelan is no timid man. From external forces of a pandemic to catastrophic weather, Dade rose to every challenge. Every member had the ability to show up in this building and fight for the ideas laid before this body. Under Dade's leadership, with him standing right here behind us, this House passed historic, long-sought, and hard-fought conservative legislation. Under Speaker Phelan, this House fearlessly led for our children, our Texas, and for our nation, and we will do so again, which is why I am proud to fully stand behind him as our next speaker. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless Texas.
Before we begin the voting process, the chair advises our guests that under the rules of the House, demonstrations or outbursts by visitors in the gallery are strictly prohibited. Members, under the terms of the motion adopted by the House, the vote for the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature shall be conducted using the voting machine. Be sure the key to your voting machine is in the horizontal position. Pursuant to the motion adopted by the House, the Honorable Dade Phelan of Jefferson County will be represented by the green light, and the Honorable Tony Tinderholt of Tarrant County will be represented by the white light. Members who do not, members who do not cast a vote and were present on the initial roll call will be shown as present, not voting in the journal. Members and guests, it will take a few minutes after the vote is closed to announce the result. The chair asks that members and guests remain seated and hold their applause until after the chair announces the results of the vote. Members, the question occurs on the election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislatures. Members wishing to vote for Representative Phelan shall press the green voting button. Members wishing to vote for Representative Tinderholt shall press the white voting button. This is a record vote. The clerk will ring the bell. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members voted? There are 143 votes in favor of the Honorable Dade Phelan of Jefferson County. There are 3 votes in favor of the Honorable Tony Tinderholt of Tarrant County. Pursuant to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Texas, I declare the Honorable Dade Phelan of Jefferson County to be the duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature. The chair announces the appointment of the following escort committee for the Speaker-elect. The clerk will read the committee.
Escort Committee for Speaker-elect. Smith, Chair. Campos, Gates, Gervin Hawkins, Hefner, Hernandez, Jaton, Leach, Manuel, Meyer, Oliverson, Patterson.
The committee will meet in the back hall to the right of the chamber immediately, please. Would everyone please take your seats? The chair recognizes the Honorable Jeff Brannick, County Judge of Jefferson County, to administer the oath of office to the Speaker-elect.
Mr. Speaker-elect, will you and your family please come forward? You'll place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Dave Phelan,
I, Dave Phelan,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Speaker of the House of Representatives
of Speaker of the House of Representatives
of the 88th Legislature
of the 88th Legislature
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my abilities,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of the State of Texas.
and of the State of Texas.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, sir.
The chair recognizes the Honorable Morgan Meyer of Dallas County for the introduction of the Speaker's family.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Members and guests, I am pleased to introduce to you Speaker Phelan's family members joining us on the floor today. His wife, Kim, his 4 sons, Ford, Mac, Hank, and Luke, his parents, Janie and Michael Phelan, and Speaker Phelan's siblings. Welcome. And now, fellow members and honored guests, it is my privilege to introduce to you the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 88th Legislature, the Honorable Dade Phelan of Jefferson County.
Thank you. you, Morgan. Well, good afternoon, and welcome to the first day of the 88th Texas Legislature. Madam Secretary, the Honorable Jane Nelson, welcome back to the House. The West Wing looks good on you, but it seems like senators will do anything to get on the House floors these days. Thank you for being here to oversee today's proceedings as the first Texan in history to preside over an opening day ceremony in both the House and the Senate. Congratulations, Madam Secretary. And to Cody, Angie, Tracy, Shelby, John, and Tony, thank you. I hope to live up to your words of support, and I cannot do this job without friends like you at my side. After completing a regular session that was anything but regular, 3 special sessions, and traveling 30,000 miles this interim, I would like to start this address the way I like to start every day, which is thanking my wife, Kim, for still being my wife. In addition to being an amazing wife, she's a loving mother to our 4 boys, an accomplished attorney, an advocate for juvenile justice reform, a leader on mental health awareness and education. I could go on for days, but what I cannot do is this job without your constant support. Thank you. Who's texting me right now? Please stop. Really? I'd also like to thank my 4 sons, Ford, Mac, Hank, and Luke. Thank you, boys. I want to thank you for teaching me how to referee a conversation between people who care a lot about an issue. We don't have points of order back home, but a good knockdown, dragged out fight over the Xbox is pretty good training for being a speaker. And Luke and Hank had one 2 hours ago. Thank you for being the best kids a dad could ask for. And just like your mom, I cannot do this without your blessings. So thank you. My parents, Mike and Janie, my 6 brothers and sisters, thank you for your love and support over the years. Growing up, if I had a giant gavel like I do now, I would be an only child today. There were also the ones with the really big foreheads too. So sorry, I get criticized for my forehead, but I inherited it from my family. As I look out upon this distinguished gathering, I see 149 people, ordinary Texans, who are eager to get to work on extraordinary things. I'm grateful for the majority of you who have honored me with your vote, but I am proud to represent all of you as Speaker of the 88th Legislature. I also see your beautiful families, friends, and supporters. Let us not forget the sacrifices they have made to get you where you are today. Texas appreciates you. Members, let's give them a round of applause. For the newcomers here, our freshman class of 2023, congratulations. Words of caution. Please do not confuse this body with the one in Washington, D.C. After watching Congress attempt to function last week, I cannot imagine why some want Texas to be like D.C. New members, you now are in the Texas House of Representatives, part of a historic assembly. 100 years after the first woman was elected to the Texas House, our membership now includes 45 women, the highest number ever. And all of us represent 150 unique populations from the cities, the suburbs, and the countryside. 194,000 strong in each district. And while our districts are certainly unique, they have one thing in common. They have trusted us to be their voice. And that is what we will do for the next 140 days. One day at a time, one issue at a time, one bill at a time. All that work will be rooted in one of the most fundamental, necessary elements of this institution, the Texas House rules. As the most deliberative body in this nation, our rules matter. And my advice to new members is to know them, love them, and be certain we will enforce them. Because our rules keep the game fair, but they do not dictate the outcome. We will have divisions, every session does, but that division does not have to define us. Let the political fires that have raged compel us to come to the table for a solution, not flee from our responsibilities. There will be countless outside voices, not from your district, not from this state, that seek to control our conversation, and they will be plenty loud. But the conversations that matter to us, the conversations that matter to our constituents, happen in here. They happen in this room, in the Texas House. We do our work together here. And when we do that, we might just be surprised to find out how much we have in common. We can find our first patch of common ground in the most fundamental element of society, the family. If we are going to be a family-focused house, and I do hope we will be, we must take a long look at what matters to Texas families. Fortunately, everyone here has spent the better part of a year on the campaign trail, hearing directly from our constituents. And like you, I've heard some very straightforward concerns from the families in my district. I heard about the economy, inflation, difficulty in making ends meet, ever-increasing property taxes that have led many to feel year in and year out they are renting their property from the government. Like them, I believe tax relief should be a priority. But time and time again, we have seen the legislature provide some form of property tax relief. But to make it lasting, we must do something about runaway appraisals because taxpayers deserve better. My constituents also talked about the need for quality health care at a reasonable price for families and businesses. They appreciate the process we made last session, tackling the cost of prescription drugs and health plans, pricing transparency, improving outcomes for women and children, but they need us to do much more. So we're going to continue the momentum by giving patients greater control over their health care as well as better access. In my travels, I also heard about Texas' desire for safe streets. During the 87th, we reset the national conversation on criminal justice. We showed it's possible to improve public safety while defending the rights of the accused and offering second chances when deserved. We led the nation in decreasing incarceration rates, reducing recidivism, and facilitating reentry. We have proven you can be tough on violent criminals while also making the criminal justice system work better for non-violent offenders. And that is what we will continue to do. But members, we can work all day on these issues, But if rogue district attorneys will not uphold the law, what progress are we really making? It is time to rein them in. Our constituents also want roads that can move them in a timely manner, from their home to their job, to their child's school, to their place of worship. Texans want a reliable supply of water, resiliency from flooding, dependable energy, and high-speed internet across this great state. They want exceptional schools with exceptional teachers. With a once-in-a-lifetime budget surplus, now is the time to put a down payment on the future of Texas. To make this down payment even more critical, over 1,000 people move to Texas every single day. They do not bring these investments with them, members. We all serve different regions, but we recognize these as common obligations. But members, perhaps we have no greater task ahead of us than protecting those who will carry on what we have started, the children of Texas. I created the Select Committee on Youth, Health, and Safety last session to examine the issues facing our children. The threats to their safety are all too real. Child trafficking, violence in schools, bad actors seeking to exploit their innocence, and social media companies that prey on the insecurities of children, leaving them vulnerable to exploitation, sexualization, and indoctrination. Members, we must stand up for the children of Texas. Teachers and parents alike want safer schools, and our kids deserve them. Last May, the lives of 21 Texans, teachers and children, were stolen when a gunman opened fire at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas. We owe it to the memory of those children and teachers to make sensible, meaningful change. I want to thank the families of Uvalde for inviting me to meet with them just last week. Having heard from them directly and taking into account the findings of our investigative committee, we have insights to inform our decision. This is going to be an especially tough conversation, but this body has proven capable of handling conversations like this in the past. I am confident we will do so again. As we work to make Texas a better place to raise a family, we must also acknowledge there's true suffering in society. And we have to make those things better, those families in those toughest situations. The most important thing to do, certainly, is to ensure our economy continues to generate quality jobs and meaningful wages. After all, an opportunity to provide for one's family is a powerful motivator, no matter where one is in life. At the same time, let us not forget people who need more than a job. Even with a vibrant economy, a single parent who can work, afford childcare, healthcare, transportation, and housing is indeed rare. How can we improve their lives and their children's futures? Tax-free diapers, wipes, and other childcare supplies is a great start. And so is ensuring health coverage for new moms that lasts not 60 days, not 60 months, but an entire year. Tony Rose stood up. Starting today, I represent Jasper County. Last week, I read a story about the local county hospital joining the 60% of rural Texas hospitals that no longer deliver babies. Mothers in rural areas now face hour-long drives for basic services. We should not leave this session without a firm commitment to reversing this trend. Because in my dictionary, the definition of pro-life includes ensuring access to affordable health care for all, especially Texas mothers and their babies. And to show the Texas House is committed to the maternal health of our own staff this session, I am proud to announce we are offering additional resources to guarantee 12 full weeks of paid maternal and paternal leave for those working for this chamber this session. Members, our names may be on the door, but the men and women who serve in our Capitol and our district offices are the ones who do the heavy lifting. We must provide an environment that respects them and recognizes their value. With rapid inflation, let's also retain them by finally increasing their salaries. Show Mr. Schaefer voting aye. Making things better for all Texas families is how we deliver on the limitless potential for our state in every area, from gainful employment to public safety. That includes border security, which is certainly in the minds of our members, but especially those who represent border communities. We can all agree that our border towns have been bearing the brunt of Washington's failed immigration policies, some going as far as declaring themselves to be in a state of disaster. It is a legal and humanitarian crisis. Every budget I voted for has poured millions, now billions of dollars into the gap between federal policies and the realities on the ground. As stewards of every budget dollar, we must ensure our strategy not only fits realities on the ground, but is truly measurably effective. We must also acknowledge the additional threats posed by a porous border. More than 1,600 Texans died from fentanyl overdoses in 2021. That is 1,600 too many. Before Texas families get that heartbreaking call, members, we must stop the cartels in their tracks, and we will. Members, though we face many challenges this session, there will be even more opportunities. The work is hard, but it is worthwhile. The work is demanding, but it is noble. The work is necessary, and because we have the privilege of doing it for the people of Texas, I know we will get it done together. It is a privilege to serve as a member of this distinguished body, and I'm once again humbled by the opportunity to be your speaker. Thank you for this enormous honor. Thank you for serving this great state. God bless you all, and God bless Texas. The following motion in writing, the clerk will read the motion.
Motion in writing by the Honorable Will Metcalf of Montgomery County. Mr. Speaker, I move to authorize the Speaker to appoint 2 committees of 5 members each, one to notify the Senate and one to notify the Governor that the House is organized and prepared to transact business.
The question occurs on adoption of the motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is adopted. The following committees, the clerk will read the committees.
Committee to notify the Senate, Keith Bell of Kaufman, Chair. Bales, Dean, Dutton, and Guetta. Committee to notify the Governor, Ed Thompson of Brazoria, Chair. Allison, Guillen, Noble, and Swanson.
The committee to notify the Senate shall assemble in the rear of the House chamber to carry out its duties. The committee to notify the governor shall assemble in the back hall of the House to carry out its duties. The House will stand at ease pending the arrival of the governor.
I know you mentioned it before we started. If you were at the convention on Friday the 13th, you saw half the delegates stand up for Texas independence if the federal government didn't behave. So if you look at the RPT platform, over half the issues that we have in Texas would be solved by that one act. So will you file a bill for Texas?
I will not. Let me tell you, first of all, I commend you on your efforts. People are talking about it, and it's not question if it's a good idea or not, it's whether or not they can actually do it. Texas can do it. It's not how I want to handle the issue, but I don't disparage anyone if that's the way they do want to handle it. I believe I will tell you this right now, like any issue that my voters in Southeast Texas are for, if I hear from my voters back home that they want me to vote in favor of that ballot, but if my voters want to have their voice heard, then I would support it. And that's the same with Texas, it's the same with gambling, it's the same with any issue that I think that I shouldn't stand in the way of y'all having a voice on major issues. I think leaving The House will come to order. Mr. Doorkeeper.
Mr. Speaker, a delegation from the Senate has arrived.
Mr. Doorkeeper, reluctantly allow the delegation to enter the House.
Mr. Speaker.
Senator, welcome back.
Thank you. Finally got to be a chairman. So, and as chair of the notification committee, we have been instructed to notify the House of Representatives that the Senate is organized and ready to transact business. Hello, everybody.
Well, I see 3 House-trained senators, so best of luck this session, and we appreciate you being here.
We're honored to be here.
Look forward to
Thank
working
you.
with you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The chair recognizes Mr. Thompson of Brazoria.
Mr. Speaker, we are pleased to report that the committee to notify the governor that the House is organized and prepared to transact business has discharged its duties.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Bell, for what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, we are pleased to report that the committee to notify the Senate that the House is organized and prepared to transact business has discharged its duties.
Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
It is my privilege to welcome to the House the Honorable Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, and First Lady Cecilia Abbott. Members and guests, it is my honor and privilege to present to you the Honorable Greg Abbott, Governor of the state of Texas.
Thank you all very much. Yeah, please be seated. Speaker, I want to thank you very much for your warm welcome. Congratulations to you on your re-election and reselection as Speaker of the House of the great state of Texas. I'm honored to be joined today by the fabulous First Lady of Texas, Cecilia Abbott. I'm also extraordinarily proud to be joined in this chamber by somebody who has already made such a terrific difference for the state of Texas, but is now launched into another pathway to do even more for our great state, and that is our new Secretary of State, Jane Nelson. You know, typically a speaker is not supposed to apologize, but I apologize a little bit. Me and Charlie Guerin, where's Charlie? He was napping over there. So we were at the game last night. I'm still wearing purple, and I think I went to bed at something like 5 o'clock with a tired voice. Yelling made no difference to the Georgia Bulldogs last night, I can tell you that much. But listen, I'm proud anytime Texas is represented for being the very best, whether it be college football or economics or whatever. And so win, lose, or draw, I'm extraordinarily proud of TCU representing our state in the national championship game. I want to start out by saying congratulations to all of those who are newly elected to the Texas House of Representatives. I know, and I hope you know, that it is a remarkable accomplishment on your part. You've been through a crucible that you may never have experienced before. Winning people to vote for you, being attacked, going through the challenges of getting people to elect you to represent them, representing the great state of Texas. All that hard work, all the effort that you put in got you to this moment and to the seat that you're in today. But to put it in context, all it really did is get you to the starting line. The process begins today for you to embark upon your service for your constituents, reflecting their ideologies, their preferences, to make sure that their voices will be heard through you on the Texas House floor. I also want to congratulate those who were reelected. Think about this concept. You've been here, you've voted here, you've worked here, you sweated here. And when you went through the process of getting reelected, that was a reaffirmation by your constituents thanking you for the job that you've done, saying you've done such a good job. We want you to go back and represent us again. Tremendous honor all the way around. So I'm proud of all of the members of the Texas House of Representatives for going through what you did go through to make it to this moment today. And I want you to know, having been at this dais for multiple sessions now as we embark upon a new session, I have never been more excited about the beginning of a session than I am this year. And there's several reasons for that. One is, more than any other year, we are situated with an extraordinary opportunity to not only address the needs and challenges of our fellow Texans, but also to advance both the state and the lives of our fellow Texans more than any other session that we've ever had. Second, we are blessed with a once-in-a-generation opportunity to put our state on a course of unassailable excellence for generations to come. One of the reasons that you all are well informed about why we are situated that way is because of the $32.7 billion surplus that we have. But let's be clear about a couple of things. First, who's responsible for that? The people who are responsible for that budget, They are the hard-working men and women, working families in this state who sweat and toil to ensure that they're earning a good living, contributing back to the state through their taxes. They are the reasons why we have that budget surplus. That budget surplus is because of taxpayers in the state of Texas. There is another reason. Another reason is because Texas and our policies, they are attracting so many people here from other states. Once again, this past year, Texas was #1 in the nation for the most new people coming into our state from other states. It's been that way as long as I've known. We have more people coming here, adding to our economy than any other state. But we cannot overlook a third reason why we have the budget surplus that we do. It is owed mostly to the taxpayers of the state of Texas. But know this, that you know, and that is that you have implemented good stewardship with policies that made sure that we would have a budget surplus. Not every state can say that. In fact, as we gather here today, the state of California, while Texas has a more than $32 billion budget surplus, California has more than a $20 billion deficit. While we have our surplus, the governor of New York is asking the federal government for money to help them in their state. And I heard a commentator with a public policy organization on TV today in New York, who's a former member of the state legislature in New York, saying that one of the issues that the governor of New York is most concerned about is the fact that so many people are fleeing the state of New York. That's causing a budget problem for their state. That's not a problem that we have in Texas. In Texas, we attract people here and we keep people here. You know, you hear all this time about how Texas is #1 for attracting new people. There's another number along those lines you need to know about. Texas is known as the stickiest state in the United States. What does that mean? That means Texas ranks #1 with retaining those who are born and raised here more than any other state. If you're born a Texan, by God, you love being a Texan and you want to stay in the great state of Texas. And I'll tell you one last reason why I'm very excited for this session. I listened to the outstanding remarks that were just presented to you by your speaker. And in those remarks were contained a broad outline of prolific issues that must be addressed this session. I can tell you that as we embark upon this session, I think there's a greater coalescence among both chambers, among all the leadership, about not only what the issues are, but also what the solutions to those issues are. And what that means is we start out in a perfect position to have an extraordinarily successful session that will end in 140 days from today. So as we embark upon this profound effort, I wish you Godspeed, and I ask that God continue to bless the great state of Texas, and that Texas remains the greatest state in the greatest country in the history of the world. God bless you all.
The following motion in writing, the clerk will read the motion.
Motion in writing by the Honorable Will Metcalf of Montgomery County. Mr. Speaker, I move that staff members employed by the House committees at the end of the 87th Legislature continue to be employed by the House subject to available funding until standing committee assignments have been made for the 88th Legislature.
The question occurs on the adoption of the motion. Is there objection? Chair hears none. The motion is adopted. Members, regarding our work schedule for the week, the House will convene at 10 a.m. tomorrow. On Thursday, the House will convene at 10:30 a.m. At 11 a.m., the House and Senate will meet in a joint session to canvass the votes for governor and lieutenant governor as required by the Texas Constitution. Be watching your newspaper mailboxes for additional information regarding House business for this week. Before adjourning for the day, I would like to acknowledge our interpreters for the deaf, Sean Whitley and Shelby Mitchinson. And our doctor of the day, Dr. Emily Briggs of New Braunfels. To conclude our ceremony today, we are pleased to have Tylene Nalbun Dion, I butchered that, I'm sorry, from the Butler School of Music of the University of Texas at Austin to perform the state song, Texas Our Texas. The House and gallery will please rise.
Texas, our Texas, all hail the mighty state. Texas, our Texas, so wonderful, so great. Boldest and grandest, withstanding every test. O empire wide and glorious, you stand supremely blessed. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long.
Please rise for the benediction, which will be offered by the Most Reverend David L. Toops, Bishop of the Diocese of Beaumont.
I will end with the beautiful and brief benediction that God gave to Moses, the great lawgiver, and told his brother to bless the people thus. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. La bendición de Dios Todopoderoso, Padre, Hijo y Espíritu Santo descienda sobre ustedes y permanezca para siempre. And the people said, Amen.
Bishop, you were only that short at Mass back home. So, the Honorable John Kemple of Guadalupe County moves that the House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow in memory of those House members who have passed away since we last convened in 2021, whose names will be entered into the journal. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and the House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday.
Texas, our Texas, all hail the mighty state. Texas, our Texas, so wonderful, so great. Boldest and grandest, standing every test. Oh, empire wide and glorious, you stand supremely blessed. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. Texas, oh Texas, your freeborn single star sends out its radiance to nations near and far. Emblem of freedom, it sets our hearts aglow with thoughts of San Jacinto and glorious Alamo. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. Texas, dear Texas, from tyrant grip now free, shines forth in splendor, a star of destiny. Mother of heroes, we come your children true, proclaiming our allegiance, our faith, our love for you. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long. God bless you, Texas, and keep you brave and strong, that you may grow in power and worth throughout the ages long.